Most people think doorbell cameras protect you from strangers. But on a warm Wednesday afternoon in a quiet American suburb, a doorbell camera protected a man from something far more dangerous. A lie. A black delivery driver walked up to a house holding a package. 2 minutes later, he was in handcuffs. 10 minutes later, the officer claimed he had confessed. But 20 minutes later, the homeowner got a notification on her phone. She pressed play on the doorbell video. And what she saw didn't just clear the driver. It exposed something far bigger, far darker, and far more deliberate than anyone expected. This is where everything went wrong. Marcus Lane had been delivering packages for 4 years without a single complaint. A soft-spoken 29-year-old who worked double shifts to provide for his mother and younger sister, Marcus was the kind of person who double-checked every address, every label, every front porch. He wasn't sloppy. He wasn't careless. He wasn't confrontational. But on that afternoon, none of that mattered. Crestview Heights was the kind of suburb where even the squirrels looked rich. Perfect lawns. Shiny SUVs. Decorative mailboxes. And the kind of silence that feels like it's judging you. Marcus had been assigned a route there after another driver called in sick. He didn't love coming to Crestview Heights, not because of the houses, but because of the looks. The long stares. The forced smiles. The uneasy glances at his uniform as if it didn't belong on him. But work was work, and the package had delivery required, signature needed. He couldn't skip it. House 1176 Willow Bend Drive. White pillars. Blue shutters. Floral wreath on the door. A ring doorbell glowing faintly in the sunlight. Marcus scanned the package, walked up the driveway, and knocked twice. Nothing unusual. Nothing threatening. Nothing even remotely suspicious. But the woman across the street saw something entirely different. Her name was Charlene Birch, a neighborhood busybody with a perfectly trimmed hedge and a perfectly inflated sense of authority. She watched Marcus from behind her window blinds, dialing her phone before he even reached the porch. "There's a man on my neighbor's property," she whispered urgently. "He looks suspicious. I think he's trying to break in." The dispatcher tried to ask questions. Charlene didn't wait. She hung up and kept watching like she was narrating a crime documentary. Officer Daniel Rowe was patrolling 2 blocks away when he got the call. Known for being proactive, he believed that hesitation created danger. He also believed that his instincts were rarely wrong, even when they were. When he saw Marcus standing at the door, holding a package, he didn't see a uniform. He didn't see a barcode scanner. He didn't see evidence of a delivery. He saw the call description. Suspicious black male. Possible burglary attempt. Officer Rowe jumped out before fully stopping the cruiser. "Hey! Step away from the house." Marcus turned, startled. "Sir, I'm just delivering." "Hands where I can see them," the officer barked, hand already on his holster. Marcus lifted his hand slowly, still holding the small box. "It's a delivery. I work for." "Drop the package." Marcus set it gently on the porch. But to Rowe, the caution looked like defiance. In seconds, Rowe had him spun around, handcuffed, and pushed against the patrol car. Across the street, Charlene watched proudly. "That'll teach him," she muttered to herself. As if Marcus had done something personal to her. As if his very presence was a crime. She stepped outside, pretending to check her garden, so she could get a better look. Officer Rowe nodded at her. "Thanks for calling it in. This neighborhood needs vigilant residents." Charlene smiled like she'd just won a civic award. Marcus, meanwhile, was sweating in the sun, confused, embarrassed, and trying desperately not to panic. Officer Rowe began speaking loudly, making sure his bodycam caught every word. "You admit you were trespassing, correct?" Marcus shook his head immediately. "No. I said I was delivering a..." He confessed, Rowe muttered, as if reading from a script. Marcus's heart dropped. "No, no, no. I said I was delivering." But Rowe didn't want truth. He wanted validation. And he had Charlene nodding behind him like a human bobblehead. At that exact moment, a grey SUV pulled into the driveway. The homeowner, Dr. Elaine Porter, stepped out, a 46-year-old pediatric surgeon still wearing her scrubs. When she saw her package on the porch and a man handcuffed by a police car, her stomach dropped. "Officer, what is going on?" Rowe straightened up. This suspect was seen attempting to access your property under false pretenses." "Suspect?" Elaine looked Marcus in the eyes. He looked terrified. She knew instantly something was wrong. "He's not a suspect," she snapped. "He's my delivery driver." Charlene gasped. Officer Rowe stiffened. But Elaine wasn't done. "Why is he in handcuffs?" "He confessed." "No, I didn't." Marcus shouted, trembling. "I said I was delivering." Elaine raised an eyebrow. "Oh really? Then let's check the only witness that doesn't lie." She pointed at her doorbell. Elaine unlocked her phone. "Ring doorbell, motion detected." She tapped the notification. The video loaded. There was Marcus approaching the house normally. There was Marcus knocking. There was Marcus waiting patiently. There was no suspicious movement, no attempt to open windows, no trespassing. Elaine walked closer to Rowe. "Let's keep watching," she whispered. She pressed play on the next clip. The camera had captured everything. At the moment Rowe arrived. Marcus raising his hands. Marcus calmly explaining he was delivering. Rowe twisting his words. Rowe stating Marcus confessed. And worst of all, Charlene feeding Rowe false claims in the background. Elaine's face turned to ice. "Officer," she said slowly, "you didn't just make a mistake." Rowe's jaw tightened. "You fabricated a confession. You arrested an innocent man. And my doorbell camera caught every second of it." Marcus exhaled shakily. For the first time since the arrest, he felt hope. Elaine stepped back, arms folded. "Officer Rowe," she said, "either you remove those handcuffs, or I press play on this video while I'm on the phone with Internal Affairs." The officer froze. Charlene's mouth fell open. And Marcus waited. Because everything was about to change. Marcus had been handcuffed before, not because he was a criminal, but because he lived in a world where people didn't always look at him and see who he really was. But this time was different. This time, there was a witness he didn't even know he had. A witness that didn't blink, didn't lie, didn't panic, didn't twist its story to match a prejudice. A camera. A doorbell with perfect clarity, perfect memory, and zero tolerance for false narratives. Officer Rowe hesitated, actually hesitated, before unlocking the cuffs. Elaine crossed her arms sharply. "Now, officer," she said. "Before I call your supervisor." Her tone wasn't a request. It was a warning. Rowe swallowed, unclicked the handcuffs, and Marcus gasped as blood finally flowed back into his wrists. The red marks screamed louder than he could. "Sorry for the misunderstanding," Rowe mumbled. But Elaine wasn't having it. "Misunderstanding," she snapped. "You escalated. You lied. You tried to manufacture a confession from a man delivering my package." She turned to Marcus. "You okay?" He nodded, rubbing his wrists. "I will be, thank you." Charlene, who had lingered on the sidewalk pretending to prune imaginary plants, spoke up. "He looked suspicious. I was just trying to protect the neighborhood." Elaine shot her a look that could melt steel. "From what?" She pointed to the box. "A package? His job? His skin?" Charlene stuttered. I didn't mean." "Yes," Elaine said, "you did." Before Rowe could retreat into excuses, a black and white SUV pulled up. Out stepped Sergeant Mason, a seasoned officer with gray hair and the expression of a man who'd cleaned up other people's messes for 20 years. "What's the situation?" he asked. Elaine didn't give Rowe a chance. "The situation," she said coldly, "is that your officer unlawfully detained my delivery driver, fabricated a confession, and acted on a false assumption based on nothing but a neighbor's bigotry." Mason stiffened. "Officer Rowe, is this true?" Rowe opened his mouth, but Elaine raised her phone. "Let me show you," she said. She played the ring footage. Every second. The knock. The calm explanation. The escalating shouts. The lies. The handcuffs. The smug nod to Charlene. Mason's face turned to stone. Officer Rowe, he growled, bodycam. Now. Rowe froze. Bodycam footage. Combined with ring footage. Combined with a civilian witness. This wasn't going away. As Mason reviewed the leaked bodycam feed, Rowe tried one last desperate angle. The suspect, Marcus, he moved strangely. I believed he was reaching for something. Marcus blinked. I was holding a package. You told me to drop it. I did. Elaine looked at Mason. If this goes into a report as anything but misconduct, I will personally take this video to the county board and then the media. Mason exhaled heavily. Officer Rowe, he said quietly, turn in your badge and weapon. Effective immediately. The neighborhood fell silent. Charlene gasped so hard she nearly dropped her gardening shears. Marcus blinked in disbelief. You're suspending him? Marcus asked. No, Mason said. I'm relieving him of duty pending investigation. Rowe's face cracked. Sir, please. Not another word, Mason snapped. You're done for today. Rowe swallowed hard, hands trembling as he removed his badge and gun. For the first time since his arrival, he looked small. Very small. Elaine turned to the nosy neighbor. And as for you, she said sharply, you endangered a man's life with your assumptions. Charlene bristled. I was concerned for safety. You were concerned with control, Elaine cut in. You didn't call because you saw danger. You called because you saw someone you didn't think belonged. Without waiting for an answer, she pulled out her phone again. I'm sending this footage to the HOA board. And I'm filing a complaint. Charlene's face drained of color. In Crestview Heights, an HOA complaint was the equivalent of a felony. As Rowe sat on the curb, head in his hands, Mason walked over to Marcus. You okay, son? Marcus stood tall, but his voice shook. I was scared. I thought this was gonna be the end of my job. My freedom. My life. Mason nodded solemnly. It shouldn't have happened. And it won't go unaddressed. Elaine stepped closer, touching Marcus's shoulder gently. You didn't deserve a second of that. You were polite. Professional. And you handled yourself with more grace than half the people in this neighborhood. Marcus swallowed hard. I just want to go home. You will, she said. And you'll keep your job. I'll make sure of that. As Mason escorted Rowe to the SUV, Elaine said sharply. You might want to check your officer's record. Mason paused. What makes you say that? Elaine held up her phone. There are comments on our neighborhood app about him. Incidents. Complaints. People saying he misunderstood their actions. Always the same neighborhoods. Always the same type of suspects. Marcus's stomach dropped. Rowe wasn't just having a bad day. He had a pattern. And this time, his lies collided with technology, witnesses, and a homeowner who wasn't afraid of him. Officer Rowe was taken for internal review. Not a suspension. Not a warning. Not a slap on the wrist. An investigation. And with the ring footage? The body cam? The neighbor's statements? It wasn't looking good. Charlene received an official HOA warning and mandatory bias training. Marcus received a public apology from the police department and his delivery company. And the following week, Elaine personally met with him backstage at a delivery station. I recommended you for a promotion, she said. Marcus stared at her. What? Why? Because in the worst moment of your life, she told him softly, you never lost your professionalism. That's leadership. He blinked rapidly to fight the tears. Thank you so much. She smiled warmly. Don't thank me. Thank the camera that never blinks. 1 month later, Officer Rowe's face appeared on every local news channel. Officer fired after doorbell camera reveals false arrest. Underneath it, investigation launched into multiple past detentions. Marcus sat on the couch with his sister and mother, shaking his head. His sister grinned. See? Told you the truth was gonna win. Marcus finally smiled. Yeah, he whispered. It did. If you want more powerful, cinematic justice stories where the truth comes out, where the innocent are protected, and where the powerful get held accountable. Make sure you subscribe to Untold Realities. New stories drop every week. Your support helps these stories reach the people who need to hear them most. Until next time, stay aware, stay strong, and stay tuned.